All right. Now, as an independent wealth advisor, I typically will take advantage of different companies that provide information to me. And in this case, you can see from this first slide, our topic is Social Security, 7 Keys to Enhancing Benefits. Now, it's presented by me, and I'm independent, but I'm actually utilizing a presentation that was provided to me by Allianz Life Insurance. So this is one of the larger, if not largest, life insurance companies in the country. So I will get presentations either from my broker-dealer, which is a company called LPL Financial, or I may get them from insurance or annuity or mutual fund companies. So it allows me to kind of pick agnostically without any conflict of interest whatever I think is the best presentation. And we're not going to talk about any products today at all. This is exclusively discussing Social Security. Okay, so we'll see here that this is our little legal annotation that says that I am not an employee of Allianz Life Insurance. It's prepared by them, and it is their intellectual property for use by me. And I think another key point is that this is general information. We're not customizing anything here for anyone in particular. So, I would take into consideration that this is general information, and once you complete this and you need to look at your specific circumstances, that may involve contacting me or an attorney or perhaps even an individual from the Social Security office. So this is just to give you some information so that you can, in some respects, ask the right questions when you do meet with any of these individuals. So a lot of people think that Social Security is just they use the word cut and dried, but it's just a rote process that at age XYZ, you just go and sign up, and that's just it, and there's really nothing that you can control about it in terms of the income or the benefit. And that's really not true. Social Security is the basis of all or many individuals' retirement income decisions. I think it's very important to understand the implications of the decisions that you can make because you'll see in a moment that once you make a decision, it can be, and in most cases is completely irreversible. So I don't want you to think that this is just something that on one day you wake up on age XYZ and all of a sudden your checks start coming in the mail. It's fortunately or unfortunately a lot more complicated than that. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to cover the basics of Social Security. We're going to talk a little bit about the integration of Medicare into this equation. We're going to talk about the income benefits that you are eligible for. And this is, I think, number 4 and 5 are going to be, and 6 are going to be a surprise, I think, to many, particularly the tax. I think 4 and 6, the taxing implications and the working in retirement implications. When to start benefits, working in retirement, and those benefits that are available to a spouse, such as a divorced spouse or a widow or widowed spouse, a survivor. So let's go into number 1. Some facts to know. You can see on this slide the various actual sources of retirement income for retirees as compared to the expected source of income for workers. And I think it's interesting to note that the expectations of workers today differ from the reality of retirees when it comes to retirement income from employment, employer-sponsored savings plans, IRAs, and other personal savings. But Social Security is a source of actual retirement income, either as a major or minor source for 90% of all retirees, and is expected to be a source of retirement income to over 80% of workers. So if we look at the sources of retirement income, right up there, number one, either anticipated or currently receiving, Social Security is the linchpin of everyone's current retirement plan, followed by perhaps part-time work, 401ks, IRAs, personal savings, and some kind of a pension plan. So Social Security is more than just retirement. In fact, at one point, Social Security was only men were eligible. Well, at the time, 99% of workers were probably men. It did not include any kind of disability. It didn't include children. So when it first came out, it was really just a I think they called it an old age and widows fund. So once you as a male became physically incapable of carrying coal out of a coal mine, and or if you died, the objective of the program was to keep you and your surviving spouse off the streets, I guess. So if we look at today, we see that 72% of Social Security benefits with an average monthly benefit of $1,335 is paid out to 72% of Americans. We can see now with these other benefits added on, including disabled individuals comprising 18% and survivors comprising 10%. So a lot different than it was originally designed. A lot of amendments and additions were made to it. In fact, it's not in this presentation, but if you want a bit of cocktail party trivia, go look up the name Ida, I-D-A, May, I think it's M-A-Y, Fuller, F-U-L-L-E-R. And Ida Mae Fuller was the first person, essentially a woman, who paid into the Social Security system. I think she paid in maybe 3 or 4 payments of about, I don't know, maybe $10 or $20 a piece, and then she subsequently became a beneficiary and started receiving checks and received them for like the next 20 years. So she, I think, I don't remember the specifics, but it's like she contributed $15 or $20, and then over the remainder of her life as a survivor, she received something like $20,000. So go look up Ida Mae Fuller as your cocktail trivia question for today. So at the moment, if you look on some people's paychecks, they see this phraseology, OASI, and some people are like, what the heck is that? So old age and survivor income and the Disability Income Trust Fund was expected to be depleted by 2034. And this was, as you see in the footnote, stated by the Board of Trustees of the Social Security system as of 2015. The revenue coming into the Social Security system will be adequate to pay just under 80% of scheduled benefits in 2034. So that means, and particularly coming off of such a contentious recent political campaign, it means that Congress is going to have to make further changes to either reduce benefits, increase taxes, change eligibility dates, some way, somehow do something such that this fund does not get exhausted. If, again, from an order of magnitude, if I recall correctly, when Social Security was first put into place, there was in the neighborhood of 40 or 50 workers contributing to the fund for every one person receiving benefits. And today, that's more like 2 individuals contributing in to every one receiving benefit. And as the baby boom generation continues and those baby boomers continue to retire, We have a much lower birth rate in this country, about 1.9 versus 4 just a generation ago. There's far fewer people paying into the program now than are going to be receiving benefits from it. So you're going to have a scenario maybe in the next 10 to 15 years here where you have one person paying in for every 2 recipients. So that is obviously unsustainable. It used to be that you would get right on your birthday, it was not a birthday card, but you would get your annual Social Security statement. And today, you know, if you've done any type of registration online of any sort, more likely now you'll receive you will not receive the paper copy anymore. So I think more than anything, everyone should go to this secure.ssa.gov, which is the Social Security website, and there you can create your own account. So you set up your own username and your own password, and there you can actually see, you know, what are you eligible for today, and what would you be eligible at age X and age Y and age Z, and if you passed away, what would your survivor receive? So I think that's crucial, step number 1, and I would hazard a guess 7 out of 10 people have never done this. So if you want to be with the in crowd, go ahead and set up an account here and take a look at that as your first step in calculating your own retirement income plan. Now, I mentioned Medicare. Medicare benefits start at age 65, and you become eligible on the very first day of the month that you turn age 65. If you're already receiving Social Security benefits in the month you attain age 65, you are automatically enrolled in Medicare and need to do nothing more. If you are not receiving Social Security benefits, you've elected to wait, you must enroll to receive Medicare benefits, and you must apply 3 months before reaching age 65. And why is this so important? Well, once you reach age 65, Medicare becomes your primary insurance vehicle, and any other insurance that you would have above and beyond that would be supplemental in nature, which we'll talk about in just a second. So, not to put you to sleep, but Medicare is comprised of, as you see here in the previous slide here, 4 major parts. Part A pays for some of the costs of hospitalization, limited skilled nursing home care, hospice care, and home health services. While it is usually premium free, there are co-pays and deductibles. So even if you are indigent and apparently have no money, you know, you're still expected to pay co-pays and deductibles. Part B is for physician services, outpatient hospital services, certain related services. Long-term, now this is key here, long-term nursing home care is currently not covered, and again, there is a premium for Part B coverage. So if I ask probably 9 out of 10 people on the street, how are you going to pay for nursing home care when you need it, 9 times out of 10 I will be told, oh, Medicare or Medicaid will pay for it. And definitively, Medicare will not pay for it, and definitively Medicaid will not pay for it in your own home. And that's a whole other presentation. Part C is the plan that covers managed care plans, private fee-for-service plans, and medical savings account. It may offer extra coverage such as vision, dental, and/or health and wellness programs. So I say that Part C is a little bit more like what you would think of an HMO, you know, where in exchange for being part of this care plan, you get more services covered at a lower cost. You may be limited in where you can receive some of this care, so that's the deal you're making in exchange for more restrictive, limited access. You have perhaps a lower premium or copay. And Part D is a voluntary prescription drug coverage program. So once you're confronted with this, you have to decide how do you want to get your coverage. First, there are two main ways: the original Medicare, and as I mentioned, the Medicare Advantage Plan, which is like an HMO or PPO. The second decision is, do you need to add a prescription drug coverage? Most Medicare Advantage plans cover prescription drugs, but it can be added to some plans if not already included. The third decision is, do you need to add supplemental coverage like Medigap? If you join a Medicare Advantage plan, you don't need and therefore can't buy Medigap. So again, a lot of complexity that hits people, in their, mid-60s here, where not only are they having to make decisions about Social Security itself, but they're also having to make very significant decisions when it comes to their health care plan. I always like how these kind of presentations on saving money, life insurance, whatever, Social Security, always have these active people riding bikes and carrying canoes, and so I just find that interesting. It's my little trivia piece there, I guess. Specifically, how do you qualify for benefits? So, in order to qualify for benefits, you must be fully insured. You must have earned a required number of Social Security credits. So again, a lot of people, I go on the street, a lot of people will say, oh, I'm just eligible for X. Well, that X is determined by calculating your credits and utilizing, as you'll see in a slide down the road here, what is your primary insurance amount, a PIA. So it's not a cut and dried calculation. There's a little bit of algorithm that goes into it. So most workers need 40 credits, or about 10 years of work. Through 1977, you earned 1 credit for each calendar quarter in which you had wages or salary of at least $50 in covered employment. Since 1978, you earn credits on the basis of your annual earnings up to 4 credits in any year. And in 2016, 1 credit is recorded for every $1,260 you earn in a year, with 4 credits if you earn $5,040 or more. So with all that, what they're functionally telling you is, obviously, I guess, is if you're going to collect the benefit, you have to have had a series of contributions into the plan that you've made. And again, it's 40 credits is what you're going to need, or about 10 years of work. Okay. So here's how your benefits are calculated. They are based on your, as I mentioned, your primary insurance amount. And this is the amount you receive at your full retirement age. And your full retirement age is based upon the date you were born. And I'm going to show you a chart just a little bit here. So your average indexed monthly earnings are used to calculate your PIA. So if you were born after 1929, you use your highest 35 years of income to calculate your benefits. So everybody asks me that. Well, how many years do they look at? Well, they look at 35 years. Your actual earnings are indexed to account for average wage changes since the year your earnings were received. So again, they are inflation smoothed, you might say. Okay, so we look at this number of credits, we look at your primary insurance amount, and then we look at, which we're going to cover here next, is, what is your full retirement age? We're going to jump in here for just a second on the topic, and this one will surprise, if not shock, some people, and that is the taxation of benefits. So number one, Social Security benefits are income tax-free for some beneficiaries. However, many people with higher incomes may be surprised their benefits may be subject to federal income tax. And what determines whether you're taxed or not is two things. One, your marital status. Are you single or head of household? Or are you married filing jointly? And then number two is your income, either your individual income or your joint income. So you can see the little table there, the little calculation. It's the sum of your adjusted gross income plus any non-taxable interest plus 1/2 of your Social Security benefits. Whoa! Non-taxable interest, well, what that does is that keeps individuals from putting all their money in non-taxed or tax-free investments like municipal bonds, so they get counted anyways. And then 1/2 of your Social Security benefits. So, wow, my Social Security benefits drive up my income bracket, you might say. And you'll see as a result of that, if your income is less than $25,000 and you are single or head of household, you probably will not have to, your benefits will not be taxed. So $0 to $25,000, you see 0% under single or head of household. If your single or head of household income is between $25,000 and $34,000, then you will have to report up to 50% of your Social Security benefit on your tax return. And if you earn more than $34,000 as a single individual, it's up to 85%. For married filed jointly, it's not that much different. If you're less than $32,000, you don't need to report it essentially, or you don't get taxed on it. Between $32,000 and $44,000, up to 50% of it is subject to taxation, and $44,000 or greater, up to 85% is subject to taxation. So wow, geez Louise, I'm going to get, let's say I get $2,000 a month in Social Security. That's $24,000 a year. If I earn just $20,000 more a year, 85% of my benefit is taxed. Yikes! So this is a table that if I showed 9 out of 10 at least people, they would have no idea what I'm talking about. So we jump back now to this concept of full retirement age and when should you take benefits. So you can start taking benefits as early as age 62, but depending on your full retirement age and as shown in the chart, you'll receive 20 to 30% less in benefits. So if we are assuming that you were born in one of these time brackets, 1937 up to 1960 or later, you can see that taking benefits as early as age 62 and prior to your full retirement age. Now this middle box shows the full retirement age of people born in different years. So if someone was born in 1955, their full retirement age is 66 years and 2 months. If on the other hand they were born in 1960, they technically have to wait until age 67 to receive their full benefits. And if they are born in 1960 or later and their full retirement age is 67 and they elect to take benefits early at age 62, they will receive 30% less than they would if they waited until age 67. Yikes, that's a lot. And it stays that way forever. So that's a big deal. And then essentially the longest that you can wait is until age 70. I mean, you can wait after that, but there's no benefit in doing so. So bottom line here, just kind of rule of thumb, if you take benefits as early as age 62, you're going to get a reduction of 20 to 30%. If you are, like most people, your full retirement age that are thinking about retirement, full retirement age is probably around that number of 66. And then we're going to take a look at what the benefit is by waiting until, say, age 70. So big differences here. So this is a very confusing chart. And I'm going to go back just for a second because I showed you how taking benefits early will deprive you of 20 to 30% of your full benefit amount. I'm going to throw this out to you and say that if you wait until age 70, you're going to receive on average about 8% more for every year that you defer. So if your full retirement age is 65, you were born 1937 or earlier, and your full retirement age 65, and you wait until age 70, you waited 5 years times 8%, which is 40%. So if your benefit was $1,000 and you wait until age 70, you're now going to get $1,400. So filing early, you lose 20 to 30%. Waiting until age 70, you can, in some cases here, at the most, receive 40% more than you would if you had filed at full retirement age. What the next chart's trying to show, it's a little confusing if you ask me, is it's trying to show you the difference between starting benefits at various ages and then living to different ages. So if you start receiving benefits at age 62 and you die at age 70, you will have received $144,000. If, on the other hand, you had waited until age 68 and died at age 70, you would have received $55,000. But conversely, and they don't have this circled, but conversely, I wonder if this will work. This would be kind of cool. Conversely, oh, it didn't work for me, sorry. If you start at age 70 versus age 62 and you live to be age 90, you can see that you would receive $633,000 as opposed to $504,000. So that's a difference of, what, about $130,000. So a huge difference when you wait longer. So the question I get, is that generic question all the time. Well, Bryant, when should I start taking benefits? Well, you can see that's different for every individual. Some of the factors that go into that decision are, one, what is your family genetics? If everybody lives to be 100 years old in your family, you should probably wait until age 70. If everyone passes away in your family at 65, you might want to take it at 62. I think the other key factor there too is whether you are, as we learn from taxation, is whether you are what your income is. And next we're going to talk about what the impact is, which nobody knows about. If I ask on the street, the impacts of working in retirement. I will tell you, I recall I had a client who had very long longevity in his family, and so he had told me, when we put his plan together, that he was not going to file and receive Social Security benefits until age 70. Well, then very unexpectedly, he was diagnosed with a very unique type of cancer for which the life expectancy after remission was about 90% of it was 5 years. So he said, hey, you know, I'm 62 right now, I'm in remission, there's a 90% chance I'm not going to live beyond 67, so he filed at 62 instead of 70. So I think that, again, shows you how every single circumstance has to be looked at individually. So, you know, your genes play into a factor, what your income, including if you've got $1 million in municipal bonds, is going to take into account. And then the next one, and we talked about, you know, how much would be taxed. But now here's the one that no one, if I ask on the street, no one will ever know about this. Well, maybe I'm being presumptuous, but I doubt it. But you also, in addition to the taxation of your benefits, if you are still working, not if you're receiving municipal bond income as an example, you know, from your investments, but you are still working, and this impacts a lot of people. When we had the recent recession, they had planned to retire in maybe 2007 or 8, and then they found out that they couldn't. But if you are age 62, if you have not received achieved full retirement age, and you start to take benefits at age 62, again, I told you it can be taxed, but you also get a reduction of $1 in benefits for every $2 that you for every $2 you're eligible for any earned income above $15,720. So if you are age 62 or less than your full retirement age, let's say it's 66 and it's 65, 4, 3, or 2, and you earn $20,000, just for a round number, you can see that you've exceeded that threshold of $15,720 by about $5,000. So on an annual basis, $5,000 divided by 2 is $2,500. So your benefit would be reduced by $2,500. And secondly, from full retirement age up to your birthday month, then, you know, so you're like 66, but your birthday month isn't for 4 months from now, and you earn more than $41,000, $41,880, then you'll have a reduction, not quite as much, but a reduction of $1 for every $3 above $41,000. And then once you reach full retirement age, there is no reduction. So pretty big deal here. And you think about it, you're age 62 and you earn $50,000, you hypothetically could be eligible for 0 benefits because for every $2 that you're over $15,000, you're going to have a reduction of $1 in benefit. Now, if it makes you feel any better, this gets adjusted once you reach full retirement age and you get all that money back, kind of. They kick up your benefits once you reach FIRA. But hypothetically, you know, if you are age 62 and you're making $100,000, you would, you know, I'd have to do the math here, but you would essentially be ineligible to receive any benefits. So longevity, taxation of your outside investments, and you know, and whether you're working or not, all play key facts, you know, key influences as to whether you want to file early. So I would imagine I probably scared everybody off from filing early right now, and I'm going to give you a hypothetical example here. So here we've got Susan, who was born in 1954. She is eligible for the maximum amount of Social Security benefits. She will retire in 2016 on her 62nd birthday, and then will return to work less than 1 year later. So her Social Security benefit, 75% of benefit at full retirement age since she filed early, was $16,800 a year. So again, she's taking reduced benefits. And then all of a sudden, something happened where she elected, got invited to go back to work, and she earned $40,000. On the other hand, her earnings limit is only $15,720. So she, according to the government, has earned $24,280 too much. So remember, in her case, they're going to reduce her benefits by $1 for every $2 that she's above that. So $24,280 divided by 2 is $12,140 is how much they're going to withhold. And instead of her receiving $16,880 in the year 2017, she will only receive $4,660. Let that sink in for a second. So I think, if anything, I'm probably giving you a headache, or I've helped you realize how complex this can be and how the decisions that you make, in those ages 62 through 65 or 6 or 70 can be huge and have huge implications on your retirement plan. As if that's not enough, let's go talk about spouses and survivorship benefits. So let's say you have a spouse who has never worked outside the home, does not qualify for any of his or her own retirement benefits. So if a non-qualified spouse can collect on the record of the spouse who is qualified to receive benefits. To qualify, the non-qualifying spouse must have been married at least 1 year to the qualifying spouse or be the parent of their child. Okay? So in this case, you can pick it either way, the man or the woman, as long as they've been married 1 year to someone who's qualified or they're the parent of the child, then the non-qualifying spouse at full retirement age or later can file and receive up to 50% of the amount that the qualifying spouse is eligible for. Okay? If the last bullet, they file and the non-qualifying spouse files early, in this case at age 62 or anything between 62 and full retirement age, they would receive 50% times the reduction like we saw before. So maybe a 30% reduction of the 50%. So if the qualifying individual got 1,000, the non-qualifying spouse could get a month could get 500 a month. But if he or she files early, they might get 30% less, which would be 150 less a month. So they get $350 a month. Okay, so this is for a married couple, a spousal situation. So, on the other hand, let's assume in this example that both spouses qualify for their own benefits. So, generally, the spouse with the lower benefit eligibility or amount could take either the benefits generated by their own earnings history or take half of the other spouse's retirement benefit if greater. So if one individual looks at their own eligibility and they've never earned a lot of money, they've worked part-time all their life, and they find that they're eligible for $500 a month, but their spouse is eligible for $1,500 a month. They could elect to take half of the spouse, so 1,500 divided by 2, $750, instead of their own $500. Okay, so either your own, based on your own earnings history, or half of the spouse made based upon their earnings history. With regards to survivors, the earliest that a widow or widower can start receiving Social Security benefits is age 60. And if you receive survivor benefits early, the benefits are based on your age and can begin anytime between age 60 and your full retirement age. Again, starting early, your benefits will be reduced. And if you receive benefits and you qualify for retirement benefits that are more than your survivor benefits, you can switch back to your own. So again, this gets complicated here. You know, if a death occurs, if a divorce occurs, it can really muck up the works here. The next slide is going to talk about just that. What benefits are available for a divorced spouse? So if you're married at least 10 years, the ex-spouse can get Social Security benefits based on the other ex-spouse's record. The person receiving the benefits must be age 62 or older and, circle this one, unmarried. So I'm going to go through this and we'll go back to that. The benefit that the receiving person is entitled to receive based on his or her work is less than the benefit based on the divorce, and the amount of benefit has no effect on the other spouse or their current spouse. And if divorced for at least 2 years, and if both ex-spouses are at least age 62, divorced spouse can get benefits even if other ex-spouse is not retired and has not started taking their own benefits. Big slide here. So, first bullet, have to be married at least 10 years in order to collect on an ex-spouse following a divorce. Number one. Number two, once you do this and you are filing on your ex's benefit, you must be age 62 and you must be unmarried. So if your spouse made, you know, a couple $100,000 a year every year, and now your second spouse is, and you are deciding whether to remarry, and your fiance has never earned more than $5,000 a year, and you don't have any benefits of your own, let's say, you know, you hypothetically are giving up a huge benefit just by remarrying, because now you cannot go and attach yourself to your ex-spouse's benefit. It says, fourth bullet, the amount of benefit has no effect on the other ex-spouse. The key there is that so let's just say in this case the guy has been married 3 times. Oh, I'll use a better example, Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson was married 3 times. And in each case, he was divorced and his ex-wives had not remarried, but each of them filed to receive 1/2 of Johnny Carson's Social Security benefits. And they did it in such a fashion that at one time, all 3 women were collecting at the same time. And that has no impact whatsoever on him. So, lots of complication here. So, take a deep breath. In summary, we've covered the basics of Social Security. We've talked about Medicare. We talked about what kind of income benefits Social Security provides you and how significant taxation, your decision of when to start taking benefits, if you elect to work, and I think this is more accurate to say working not only in retirement, but working while taking benefits, and then the different labyrinth of issues that confront you if you are a spouse and you have you know, an ex pass away. So hopefully this will give you at least a little bit of foundational knowledge so that, as it says here, you can take the next steps and evaluate whether your income needs in retirement are likely to be covered by your current identifiable income sources, or do you need to meet with someone like myself or another financial professional to evaluate your current specific situation. So I'll say thank you for joining me today. I hope you've learned a couple new facts. You will receive an email as a follow-up